Chosen one, stop scrolling right now. Do not swipe away and do not look for another message. Heaven has intercepted your feed today for a very specific reason. You are about to make a monumental mistake. You are standing on the edge of a massive breakthrough. But if you touch this situation right now, you will destroy the entire divine plan. You feel entirely exhausted. Your shoulders carry a heavy weight. The invisible burden is real. And every single morning when you wake up, the heaviness is already sitting deep inside your chest before you even open your eyes. You push through the day. You smile for the people around you, but deep inside your spirit is completely drained. You want to speak up. You want to defend your name. The urge to explain yourself is burning inside your throat. People have misunderstood your silence, and they have spoken lies about your character. You are watching them walk away with zero consequences, and your human instinct is screaming at you to fix this mess with your own two hands. I am telling you to stop. Drop your weapons right now. Take one deep breath slowly. Do not send that message. Do not make that phone call. Do not try to clear your name in front of people who are committed to misunderstanding you. The universe is stepping in. God said, do nothing and stay absolutely still. This is not a regular conflict. This is a highly calculated spiritual trap. The enemy wants you to react. They desperately need you to step out of your quiet authority and fight them on their low level. Because if you react, they can steal your energy. They feed on your frustration, and they use your emotional chaos to block your upcoming blessing. You have always been the fixer. You always jump in to save the day. You heal people who never even bother to check on your heart. But this specific battle does not belong to you. You are trying to fight a war that heaven has already won in the unseen realm. Your interference is actually delaying the ultimate victory. Listen carefully to me. The system wants you to believe that silence equals weakness. They want you to panic, but something massive is shifting in the atmosphere right this very second. The people who tried to bury you are starting to panic, and what heaven is about to reveal will finally make sense of every tear you cried in secret. Your body is reacting to this shift. You have been experiencing sudden waves of fatigue. You wake up at 3 in the morning with a racing heart, and you feel a sudden heavy anxiety that does not even belong to your own spirit. You thought you were losing your mind, but you are just incredibly sensitive to the changing spiritual tides. You are not going crazy. Your spirit has been acting as a human shield. You have been absorbing the spiritual warfare directed at your life while your physical body tries to sleep. That is exactly why you are so tired. You have been fighting unseen battles. But heaven says your shift as the spiritual bodyguard is officially over today. The universe is preparing a public table for you. Those who sat at other tables and spoke poorly of your name will be forced to watch. You will not have to lift a single finger. Heaven is stepping in as your ultimate defense attorney. The confusion they tried to cast onto your life is rapidly returning to their own camp. Type 777 in the comments right now to claim this absolute breakthrough. You need to lock your frequency into this message, because if you turn away now, you will miss the exact instruction you need for tomorrow. The delay you have been experiencing is not a denial. The delay is divine exactness. You have been praying for a shift. You have been asking why the pressure has been so heavy. You asked why the doors seemed glued shut, no matter how hard you pushed. God was keeping those doors closed because entering too early would have crushed you. Your character is being refined. You are being prepared for greatness. But in the last 48 hours, a divine decree was issued. The spiritual realm has authorized a massive shift in your favor. A mega deposit of both peace and provision is being released right now. Stay right here, because if you leave before hearing this verdict, you will miss the key to unlock everything. Do you understand what is at stake? If you touch the situation, you signal to heaven that you do not trust the plan. You tell the universe that your timing is better than divine timing, and that arrogance will reset the clock on your blessing. You must surrender the need to control the narrative. Let them think what they want. Your silence is your greatest weapon right now. Your stillness has completely terrified the enemy. They do not know what to do when you refuse to play their game. So you will stay still. You will rest in your quiet authority. And you will watch as the ultimate plot twist unfolds right before your eyes in the coming days. The world has lied to you about the power of silence. They told you that if you do not fight back, you are weak. They convinced you that walking away means you are just a coward. But the Matrix and the Sleepers have totally misunderstood your spiritual DNA. They only look at the physical realm. Doing nothing is actually the most aggressive move you can make right now. It is a highly calculated divine strategy. You see, the system operates entirely on physical effort. The Sleepers believe they have to force every single door open. They hustle and manipulate to control the earthly narrative. But you are a chosen one, and you do not operate by earthly rules while heaven fights for you. Your stillness is not surrender to the enemy. It is absolute surrender to the highest power. Every time you try to fix the situation, you put your hands on a masterpiece. You genuinely think you are just helping out. You believe you are simply defending the honest truth. But when you step into the ring, you are actually pushing the divine hands completely out of the way. God cannot fight your battle if you insist on throwing the punches. Step all the way back right now. Let them think they have won the temporary war. Let them celebrate their fake power and brief victory. The enemy desperately wants you to panic because your panic proves their dark tactics are working. They need your emotional reaction to validate their miserable existence, and without it, they are screaming into a void. Your absolute silence starves their hungry demons. It cuts off their only food supply. Standing completely still requires massive spiritual strength. It is incredibly easy to lash out in anger. It is easy to send a toxic text message to defend your damaged pride. But holding your tongue when you have all the facts is true power, because it shows you trust the universe. You are withholding your precious energy today. You are protecting your sacred frequency from them. The deep isolation you feel right now is not a punishment. You look around and wonder why everyone has left you. You feel abandoned by the people you used to heal. But this separation is a divine quarantine designed to keep you completely untainted by their low vibrations and lies. Heaven had to separate you from the group. You had to be separated to be elevated. God is acting as your ultimate filter right now. The people falling away were never meant to stay. They were heavy baggage, holding you back from your true destiny. If you try to reach out and fix the relationship, you are picking that heavy baggage right back up. Do not touch the situation at all. Let the dead leaves fall from your branches. You must understand the ancient law of divine compensation. When you refuse to avenge yourself, you transfer the debt. You give the problem directly to the spiritual realm. God becomes the ultimate debt collector, and the universe always collects those debts with a very heavy interest rate. The justice you receive will shock the world. Human justice is flawed, but divine justice is perfect. They fully expected you to break down in tears. They sat back and waited for your dramatic emotional reaction. When you gave them absolutely nothing, they started to panic. Your unbothered peace is completely confusing their dark spirits because they cannot comprehend someone who does not fight back. You have turned their own weapons against them. They are suffocating in the silence you created. You are not being weak or passive right now. You are actively handing the gavel back to God. You are trusting the grand design more than your temporary feelings. This is the ultimate test of your faith. Can you stand perfectly still while storms rage around you? Can you smile knowing the victory is sealed? Can you rest while they dig their own graves? Think about the greatest warriors in spiritual history today. They did not win by swinging swords blindly around. They won because they knew exactly when to rest. They understood that the strongest shield is an unbothered mind and a heart that fully trusts the divine timing. Your unbothered state is an absolute spiritual fortress. No demonic attack can ever penetrate these walls. Do you feel that sudden lightness in your chest? That is the heavy burden of revenge leaving you. You no longer have to figure it all out. You do not have to plan your next counterattack or draft a clever response to people who hate you. Heaven has finally taken the steering wheel. You are officially off the hook this morning. The earthly system demands constant action to distract you. If you are always fighting, you never find true peace. The Matrix wants you totally exhausted and constantly drained. But heaven wants you rested so you can align with the frequency of miracles and attract massive new blessings. You are a magnet for divine favor now. You are no longer a lightning rod for drama. So let the vicious rumors fly through the air. Let them build their temporary castles on loose sand. You are building an eternal legacy on solid rock. Your quiet victory will be the loudest testimony they have ever witnessed, because God will vindicate you in public. Step completely back and wash your hands today. God is preparing to show them His ultimate power. Before I go any further, I need you to pause and really hear this next part. What I am about to tell you is the exact blueprint the system uses to keep you trapped. The Matrix is not just a physical structure of rules and laws. It is a highly organized spiritual machine built to extract your divine energy. They do not want your money. They want your light. The people coming against you are not acting entirely on their own today. They are simply agents being used by dark entities to trigger your human emotions. Have you noticed how they always strike when you are finally feeling peaceful? That is not a random event, and it is certainly not bad timing. It is a calculated spiritual attack to steal your joy. Their ultimate goal is to pull you down from your high spiritual throne. You hold a frequency of pure abundance and quiet authority that absolutely terrifies them, but they cannot steal that authority unless you willingly hand it over to them in anger. How do you hand it over? You hand it over the exact second you begin to argue with their nonsense. Every single time you explain yourself, you are leaking pure life force. When you type out a long, angry message, your spirit is bleeding precious energy. The enemy acts like a parasite attached to your emotional reactions because they cannot produce their own light. They survive strictly by consuming your frustration. You are feeding them every time you get upset. Listen carefully, because this is where most people miss the ultimate blessing. Those individuals who constantly provoke you are completely empty inside. They live in a dense and heavy spiritual state that they cannot escape on their own. So they start fires in your life to force you to interact with them. They need your bright spark just to feel alive today. There is a massive secret about their behavior that heaven wants you to know. The system desperately hides this fact because it would instantly end their control over you. When they create chaos, they are actually operating out of pure fear. They are terrified that you are finally waking up to your true power. They throw tantrums to distract you from your destiny. The Matrix wants you to believe you must defend your honor at all costs. They program society to value the loud and aggressive fighters who always seek petty revenge. But that is exactly how they keep the chosen ones stuck in endless cycles of meaningless drama. While you are busy fighting earthly battles, you forget to claim your spiritual kingdom. You are a masterpiece of God, and you do not belong in the mud with them. When you refuse to react, you instantly break the invisible cords they attach to your soul. They expect a massive war, but you give them absolute dead silence. This completely short-circuits their dark programming. They do not have a backup plan for a chosen one who refuses to fight back. Imagine a dark machine that runs entirely on human anger and constant worry. If you stop providing the fuel, that machine will eventually grind to a total halt. Your unbothered peace is the ultimate poison to their toxic spiritual ecosystem. They will try even harder to provoke you at first. They will scream much louder just to get a tiny drop of your attention. Do not fall for their desperate escalation tactics during this crucial week. They might use the people closest to you to deliver the sharpest emotional blows. They know exactly which buttons to push to make your human nature want to retaliate immediately. But you are no longer operating from your human nature. You are operating from your divine identity. Lock your attention right here and do not let your mind wander away. You must recognize the bait the very moment it is dangled right in front of your face. When the lie is spoken against you, simply observe it from a great distance. Do not internalize their toxic words. Their lies are just empty vessels that hold absolutely zero power over your divine path. The chaos they create is actually serving a beautiful divine purpose for you. It is exposing the hidden snakes hiding deep in the grass of your personal life. God is using their own dark traps to show you exactly who needs to be permanently removed. You thought they were trying to destroy you, but heaven is just using them to clean up your social circle. You hold the ultimate power of withholding your precious divine energy today. When you close your mouth, you open the floodgates of heaven to act on your behalf. The enemy is starving because the chosen one has finally closed the spiritual kitchen. Let them starve in the dark. You have a magnificent feast waiting for you at the table of absolute victory. This brings us to the exact reason heaven brought you here this specific moment. Because while they are starving, something incredible is happening behind the scenes. The universe is actively preparing the justice they so richly deserve for crossing your path. Your silence is extremely loud, and the spiritual realm is already executing the perfect response to their betrayal. Let me explain what is actually happening in the spirit realm right now. You see, silence is not just an absence of noise. Silence is a heavily armed spiritual frequency. When you refuse to speak, you are actually building an invisible wall of fire around your soul. The enemy cannot cross that divine boundary today. The people who plotted against you expected a very specific human reaction. They studied your past behavior, and they knew exactly how much you cared about the truth. They threw their best weapon at you and waited for the glorious explosion. But the explosion never came. The silence you gave them was deafening and completely terrifying. Why does your stillness cause them so much psychological torture? Because human nature absolutely hates the unknown. When you explain yourself, you give them a detailed map of your mind. You show them exactly where it hurts, and they use that map to strike again later. But when you stay completely silent, they have zero intelligence on your position. Your silence becomes a giant mirror, reflecting their own darkness right back at them. Without your emotional reaction to distract them, they are left entirely alone with their toxic thoughts. They start to overthink every single detail. They wonder what you know, and they stress over what you might be planning to do next in secret. This is the magnificent divine mechanism of unbothered peace. You are not plotting revenge. You are literally just sitting there, resting in the arms of the Creator. But their guilty conscience is tearing them apart from the inside out. They are fighting terrifying phantom battles in their heads while you sleep peacefully through the long night. The discerning warrior understands that words hold a massive creative power. Every syllable you speak into the atmosphere shapes the reality around you. If you speak to their level, you bring yourself down to their miserable dimension. But by withholding your words, you starve their dimension of any life force. You choke out their demonic influence. Think back to the strange stillness you felt over the last 72 hours. You felt an unnatural urge to just step away from everything and everyone. That was the Holy Spirit physically restraining your human tongue. The universe was protecting your authority because one single angry word would have broken the spiritual seal on your life. The system demands your constant engagement to keep you trapped in the low vibration of earthly drama. But a chosen one who masters the art of divine silence is the most dangerous threat to the Matrix. You become entirely unpredictable to the dark forces. They cannot read a mind that is fully surrendered to the highest spiritual frequency. Let them whisper behind your back. Let them gather their little groups and construct their elaborate false narratives. Their groups are nothing compared to the army of angels currently standing behind you in the unseen realm. The louder they scream, the more they expose their own deep insecurities. Your quiet victory is completely inevitable now. I need you to understand the brilliant strategy heaven is using right now. God isolated you so the enemy would think you were completely vulnerable and weak. They took the bait, and they stepped right into the divine trap. Now they are fully exposed to the bright light of truth, and they realize too late that they attacked a masterpiece of God. Every single time you ignore their bait, your spiritual shield grows infinitely stronger. You are not just surviving their toxic attacks anymore. You are actively ascending to a level of consciousness they can never reach. They are watching you glow brighter while their own lives slowly fall apart into complete chaos. The contrast is absolutely blinding. They wanted to see you broken and begging for their cheap approval. Instead, they are watching you thrive in absolute silence without needing them at all. This shatters their massive ego into a million tiny broken pieces. They are realizing that their opinions hold zero weight in your universe. They are entirely powerless against your divine alignment. You have finally broken the cycle today. You are the cycle breaker your ancestors prayed for in the dark. The generational habit of fighting useless battles stops permanently with you right now. You are passing the final test of emotional maturity. You are proving to the universe that you can handle the massive weight of true spiritual authority. The exact reason the enemy is panicking is because they know what happens next. They know that once a chosen one stops fighting earthly battles, heaven releases the ultimate reward. The delay is officially over because you stopped creating human resistance. You stopped interfering with the divine process, and now the process is accelerating rapidly. Do not break your powerful silence now. Do not look back to check if they are hurting. Keep your eyes locked firmly on the beautiful horizon heaven has painted for you. The war in your mind is finally ending. Now you are about to see the physical proof that the universe always defends its chosen ones in public. We are moving to the next level. By the time we reach the final breath of this message, you will have received 3 massive layers of revelation. There are silent but undeniable signs that the universe is currently fighting a massive battle on your behalf. You cannot see the mighty angels swinging their swords, but the divine evidence is spilling over into the physical world. If you know exactly what to look for, you will realize that you are entirely protected today. The system wants you blind to these signs. Sign number 1 is the sudden and unexplained removal of people from your inner circle. You thought you were losing your best friends. You honestly thought you did something terribly wrong to push them all away. But God was actually eavesdropping on dark conversations you could not hear. Heaven saw the hidden daggers they were holding tightly behind their backs while they smiled directly at your face. They were never your true tribe. This sharp separation hurts your human heart, but it is the ultimate proof of divine intervention and supernatural protection. The universe forcefully removed them because their toxic frequency was going to block your upcoming mega deposit. Do not chase after them today. Do not send a long emotional message asking for closure. The absolute lack of an explanation is your closure. You are experiencing a holy quarantine right now. Gently like this video right now, not for an algorithm, but as a physical declaration to the universe. You are stepping into full spiritual alignment. You are accepting this divine protection without asking any more human questions. When you align your energy with this prophetic message, you lock the iron doors against the enemy. You declare that you are a discerning warrior who trusts the invisible process of heaven. Sign number 2 is the sudden chaos breaking out inside the camp of your enemies. Listen carefully, because this is where the spiritual justice gets incredibly poetic. The very trap they set for you has become their own inescapable spiritual prison. They gathered together in secret to destroy your good name, but now deep confusion has completely infiltrated their ranks, and they are viciously turning on each other. You are sitting in absolute silence while they completely self-destruct. They cannot maintain their false alliances because dark energy always feeds on itself eventually. What they whispered in absolute secret is currently being shouted from the highest rooftops. God is exposing their true character to the world while you simply sit back and watch. Your hands are perfectly clean. The karma is completely automatic and highly severe. Take a deep breath right now. Drop your heavy shoulders and pay very close attention to this next vital sign. Sign number 3 is the profound and unexplainable peace that just washed over your tired mind. A few weeks ago, this exact same situation would have completely destroyed your mental health. You would have been crying and panicking in the dark, but today you just feel an odd and powerful sense of calm. That calmness is not emotional numbness. You have not given up on your beautiful life. That deep stillness is the Holy Spirit literally anchoring your soul to the solid bedrock of heaven. The storm is raging violently all around you, but the water inside your spiritual boat is perfectly still. The enemy is terrified of this unnatural peace. They cannot defeat a chosen one who refuses to panic during a hurricane. They expected your frequency to drop. They wanted your light to flicker and die out. But your peace is a blazing fire that blinds the dark entities trying to oppress you. This brings us directly to sign number 4. Many chosen ones fail to recognize this final sign, and it costs them their ultimate victory. Sign number 4 is the sudden return of your physical and spiritual energy. For long months, you were completely drained by the constant spiritual warfare. You carried the heavy weight of their toxic projections on your own back. But because you finally decided to stay still, the invisible cords have been violently cut. The energy they stole from you is rushing back into your physical vessel today. You are waking up with a brilliantly clear mind. The heavy brain fog is permanently lifting. The physical exhaustion is melting away like snow in the bright sun. This is the universe restoring your divine strength, because you have a massive kingdom to govern very soon. You are a masterpiece of God, and your light is finally turning back on. The Matrix can no longer siphon your life force, because you revoked their access. You are a closed circuit of divine energy now. These 4 signs are absolute proof that the silent warfare is working in your grand favor. You did not have to lift a single human finger to orchestrate this divine turnaround. You just had to step out of the way. The cycle breaker is no longer fighting the broken matrix. You have ascended far above it, and the entire atmosphere around you is actively shifting to accommodate your new quiet authority. Now you understand the silent signs happening all around you. The universe is actively dismantling the enemy camp while you simply watch. You are no longer wondering if heaven is actually on your side today. The divine evidence is completely overwhelming, and it is shifting your entire reality, because the matrix can no longer hide the absolute truth. Your energy is elevating to a level they can never touch. You can literally feel the massive shift deep inside your bones. The heavy spiritual fatigue that plagued you for years is completely gone. A fiery new confidence is rising up from the ashes of your old exhausted self. You are no longer a victim of their toxic matrix. You are the quiet victor, preparing to take your rightful throne and rule your life. They can feel your frequency changing from miles away today. The sudden shift in your energy is sending massive shockwaves through their dark spiritual networks. They used to feed on your anxiety, but now they are choking on your unbreakable peace. The tables have turned completely. The hunters have suddenly become the hunted in the unseen realm while you rest. God said, "Do nothing," because the divine trap needed time to close perfectly around them. If you had spoken up, you would have warned them about the impending karma. Your silence kept them totally blind to the massive spiritual avalanche hanging right above their heads. They danced in the dark while heaven quietly loaded the heavy artillery for you. You are a discerning warrior, and your intuition is sharper than a sword today. You can see straight through their fake smiles and their manipulative little games. They thought you were completely foolish and incredibly naive about their hidden intentions. But your kindness was never a weakness. It was a rigorous divine test, and you passed it with absolute flying colors. Do not let your mind wander here, because the momentum is building rapidly. Lock your attention on what I am about to say next. The spiritual atmosphere in your room is physically changing as you hear these powerful words of confirmation. Type the word "ready" in the comments if your soul feels this undeniable electric charge. The earthly system is absolutely terrified of a chosen one who knows their exact worth. They wanted you financially desperate and emotionally broken so you would settle for their pathetic crumbs. But the Matrix cannot control a spirit that is completely anchored in divine authority. You have broken their invisible chains entirely, and you are finally breathing free air. A massive spiritual storm is gathering on the beautiful horizon right now. But this storm is not coming to destroy your peaceful life. This violent storm is coming to aggressively wash away every single obstacle standing in your path. The dark entities that tormented you are desperately trying to flee, but there is absolutely nowhere for them to hide from this pure light. While they run around in complete panic, you are standing perfectly still. The contrast between your heavy silence and their chaotic noise is absolutely stunning to witness. Heaven is putting your unbothered grace on a massive public display today. God is using your quiet victory to show the sleepers what true divine power actually looks like when it is fully activated. You have carried the heavy weight of their false accusations for way too long. You cried silent tears while they laughed loudly at your apparent defeat and your quiet struggles. But their laughter is suddenly dying in their dry throats. The universe is preparing to flip the entire script, and the upcoming plot twist is going to be incredibly legendary. The cycle of you constantly being the sacrificial lamb is permanently over. You are no longer the spiritual sponge, absorbing everyone else's toxic waste and bad decisions. You are a masterpiece of God, and your energy is way too expensive for their cheap drama. You are finally stepping out of survival mode and entering a beautiful season of pure thriving. Your spiritual shield is glowing with an intense and blinding light today. The angels assigned to your life have drawn their flaming swords, and they are standing in a tight circle around you. No weapon formed against your destiny will ever prosper again. The long period of painful testing is completely finished, and the period of joyful harvesting is rushing in. We are approaching the absolute peak of this magnificent spiritual mountain. The heavy clouds are parting, and the bright sun is breaking through the darkness that surrounded you. The season of waiting in the silent shadows has officially expired. You can feel the massive surge of divine electricity rushing through your completely restored veins right now. Before I reveal the final divine verdict, you must understand one last thing. You did not survive that dark wilderness because you are just physically tough. You survived because you are a chosen one, protected by the highest power in the universe. The universe is about to reward your incredible patience. Get ready for the massive explosion of absolute divine justice. Now remember that strange command from the very beginning. Remember why the Holy Spirit ordered you not to touch the situation. Here is the absolute truth that heaven kept hidden from the enemy all along. God did not tell you to stay still just to protect your peace. The divine creator ordered you to step back because the enemy was walking blindly into a massive trap. If you had reached out to fight them, you would have blocked the heavy gates from slamming shut behind them. In the mighty name of the highest power, I decree that your season of suffering is permanently over. The universe is aggressively flipping the script right now. Those who sat at tables and spoke poorly of your beautiful name are about to face severe consequences. You do not have to lift a single finger today. You do not have to say a single word. Heaven is stepping in as your ultimate defense attorney. The massive confusion they cast onto your life is violently crushing their own camp. They are experiencing the exact nightmare they desperately tried to build for you. Watch them completely panic as your divine peace becomes entirely untouchable. The very snare they carefully set for you has become their own permanent spiritual prison. They thought they were burying you deep in the dark and cold dirt, but they did not realize you were a powerful seed, and now you are rapidly growing into a massive tree. The heavy karma falling on their heads is completely automatic. They are drinking the exact poison they mixed for your cup, and it is destroying their reality. They are choking on the toxic words they spoke against your divine character. There is absolutely no escape from this holy and righteous judgment. I declare right now that every generational cycle of lack and pain is permanently broken. The deep poverty stops with you today. The emotional abuse stops with you. The broken relationships and the endless betrayals stop with you right this exact second. You are the chosen cycle breaker of your entire bloodline. I decree that the heavy, suffocating mantle of survival mode is violently falling off your tired shoulders. You are no longer just surviving the attacks of the dark matrix. You are stepping into a divine and unprecedented era of pure abundance. Breathe it all out right now. The spiritual war you fought for your family has been completely won, and because you passed the test of silence, a mega deposit of wealth and clarity is being unlocked. God is releasing a massive wave of provision that the elite system tried to hide. They wanted you financially desperate, but heaven is overriding their petty delays. The financial blockage that kept you awake at night is completely dissolving. You are stepping into an era where incredible opportunities chase you down. You are not at the bottom of the ladder anymore. You are holding the golden keys to the highest spiritual kingdom. The divine frequency of miracles is actively rewriting your physical reality. The doors that slammed in your face last year are being blown completely off their hinges today. The universe is compensating you for every single tear you cried in absolute secret. What the enemy stole from you is being returned with a massive divine multiplier. The long season of struggling just to survive the month is permanently over. You will never have to beg the earthly system for temporary scraps again. Every lie they told about you is suddenly dissolving into thin air. The people who believed the false rumors are waking up with a deep sense of guilt and profound confusion. God is publicly clearing your name without requiring a single explanation from your mouth. Your total silence was the master key that unlocked this monumental victory. You trusted the invisible process when it made absolutely no human sense at all. Heaven is setting up a massive feast for you right in the middle of your enemies. They are forced to stand there and watch you eat from the table of pure abundance. They cannot touch your new blessings, and they can never steal your divine joy again because your frequency is entirely out of their reach. The heavy iron curtain separating you from your destiny has been completely torn down. You are stepping into the blinding light of true and absolute spiritual authority. You are a magnificent masterpiece of God, and your light can never be contained again. The years you spent feeling like an isolated outcast were actually years of intense royal training. You were the black sheep because you were never meant to blend in with the sleeping flock. You were born to lead them out of the dark wilderness while they were entirely blind to the truth. The heavy armor you wore for protection is transforming into a beautiful crown of victory. Raise your head high because the grueling battle is completely finished. The enemy has been utterly defeated by your unbothered peace and your unbreakable faith. You have officially reclaimed your stolen energy. You have successfully starved the toxic matrix. And you have proven that divine silence is the most devastating weapon in the universe. Step proudly into your new era of total freedom as the ultimate quiet victor. You have crossed over into the promised land today. The massive storm has finally passed. The violent winds have completely stopped. Now lower your tired shoulders and take a very deep breath. You are entirely safe. Divine justice has been fully executed in the unseen realm, and your heavy armor is no longer needed. You can finally rest. Your soul fought for a very long time. Peace might actually feel a little strange at first. Embrace this beautiful quietness. But listen to me carefully, because this next instruction is crucial for your survival. You must protect this new blessing with absolute silence. Do not run to the internet to brag about your incredible victory. Do not call those old friends to tell them the good news. You must keep your mouth completely closed. The Matrix hates when a chosen one successfully escapes the dark maze. They will try their hardest to pull you back in. When God hands you a massive deposit, you do not display it openly. You hide it deep in the vault where the jealous thieves cannot reach it. The dark entities are still roaming around. They are looking for an open window to sneak back into your life. Your careless words are the exact windows they desperately use to crawl back inside. Do not give them any access. Keep your massive upgrades completely hidden until the foundation is solid. Let people entirely misunderstand your quiet joy. Let them assume whatever they want about your sudden disappearance from their toxic drama. You no longer need to explain your peaceful soul. You owe nothing to people who are fully committed to misunderstanding your spirit. You have officially entered the sacred sanctuary of quiet authority. Your energy is way too expensive to spend on cheap earthly arguments. You are living on a higher frequency now. From this exact moment forward, your quiet presence will command massive respect. Your heavy silence will be your absolute greatest weapon against the sleeping matrix. You do not have to prove anything to anyone ever again. You are fully known and deeply loved by the Creator of the universe. That divine validation is the only approval you will ever need. Walk into every room knowing that heaven is backing up your every single step. Do you feel how light your physical body feels right now? That is the glorious feeling of a generational curse falling to the dusty ground. You are breathing the pure air of total spiritual freedom today. The old heavy chains are completely gone, but you must actively refuse to pick those chains back up when people try to trigger you tomorrow. Stay incredibly focused on your new bright path. The enemy will send familiar faces to test you. When they send that bait message, just smile and politely delete it. When you hear the distant rumors, just laugh quietly and walk the other way. You are a spiritual king or a mighty queen stepping into a royal court. Royalty does not roll around in the mud with the desperate peasants. You sit proudly on your throne and you govern your peaceful kingdom with absolute grace. Your pure, unbothered nature is your ultimate crown. Heaven is going to drop sudden miracles into your lap over the next 30 days. You will see incredible financial shifts and sudden favor that you cannot logically explain. When these beautiful things happen, you must just say thank you. Do not question the massive blessing. Do not feel guilty for receiving the abundance you so richly deserve. You paid the heavy price in the dark, and now you get to collect the glorious reward in the light. You survived the darkest wilderness completely alone. You walked through the blazing fire. You came out entirely purified and exceptionally strong. Heaven knows exactly how much it cost you to keep your heart pure. The world desperately tried to make you bitter, but you refused to break. You are incredibly rare. You are a true masterpiece among millions of broken copies. Never let the sleeping world convince you that you are just average. Now I want to speak a final blessing over your completely restored life. I seal this powerful frequency around your mind and your beautiful spirit. I declare that the enemy cannot intercept your future messages, and they cannot steal your divine peace. You are permanently shielded by the highest power in existence. The divine protection surrounding you is absolutely impenetrable now. No dark force can ever enter your sacred space again. If this message just lifted a massive weight off your chest, consider doing something beautiful. Consider sowing a seed of gratitude in the pinned comment to multiply your upcoming harvest. Your gentle financial support allows us to keep this spiritual lighthouse burning bright. We desperately need to reach the next chosen one. Someone is sitting in the dark right now thinking they are entirely alone. Your kind seed is a pure act of divine love. Subscribe to this sanctuary and turn on the bell so the enemy cannot block your daily alignment. Gently like this video as a physical declaration to the universe that you are truly ready to receive. Step forward into your beautiful new reality with complete confidence today. You are a discerning warrior and you are a powerful cycle breaker. You are completely anointed. You are perfectly protected. And you are finally free.